It's National Daily News Hour for today, and I'm Ted Haas. Today we'll cover some of the most important events in expanding our borders west. But in the meantime, today's biggest news was when what appeared to be gold was found on the plains of California more than 2,000 miles away in Coloma. We're going to surprise you folks with this exclusive story.
A shiny yellow rock smaller than a coin was found near Sutter's Mill earlier today. Mr. James Marshall, owner of this mill, was walking along the American River this morning. He then said he found what he thinks was pyrite, fool's gold. However, after scraping it against his pants, he later confirmed that it was indeed real gold.
I really feel like a rich man now. I spent all my well-earned money to travel here in a boat, and I just don't know what to say, folks. It's like an angel has given me a good look and graced me from heaven. I have found one of the treasures man has been searching for since the dawn of time. Well, what are you going to spend your gold on? That gold's worth about 10 years' pay. I might just keep working in my mill here. I feel like my shiny gold nugget I found in the middle of a stream with water up to my knees is worth more than all my possessions combined. I ain't going to sell it for some paper bills. I'd rather just keep it and look at it as a gift from God. Mr. Marshall seemed quite satisfied with his new discovery today. And who knows, folks, maybe there's more gold out there in California. Well, in other news, earlier in our chapter of Western expansion, Texas broke free from Mexico, our neighbor to the south. Settlers that moved to Texas didn't bother following Mexico's laws, resulting in a bloody revolt at the beautiful church, the Alamo.
Jimenez, a Mexican inhabitant of Texas, felt as though his home was being invaded by, quote, fiends sent by the devil. His family was held at gunpoint to support the rebels, but disagreed and paid with their lives. Eduardo, to this day, still feels afraid ever since he saw this horrible scene.
It's almost like these people are minions of the devil. When did they become so greedy and envious of us? That is the question we as Mexicans should bring up to the government. How can the government be run by these minions of the devil? Well, after the good news came some bad news from our current chapter of Manifest Destiny. Now that we are halfway through our special news hour, it's time for us to take a break, and we'll return after these messages.
Steam engines, the newest form of fast transportation man has created. Steam trains, the fastest, most comfortable way to travel. Their pistons of power allow them to be as quick as a horse, but as strong as 100 mules. Cheaper than a wagon train, they're true reliable beasts. They join people from all around together. Look at how many of these iron horses have multiplied since last decade. Steam trains. Ride one today from bustling Washington, D.C. to the tranquil Maryland countryside. Now that's what you call comfort. Baltimore and Ohio Railroad, linking people together.
Well, folks, it's back to our special National News Hour, counting down important events in the long history of Manifest Destiny. Thousands of Cherokee, Creek, and other natives were forced to march to Indian Territory. Thousands died, but even more are remembering the terrible story survivors have lived to tell.
The Indian Removal Act of 1830, enacted by President Jackson, was one of the most brutal, freedom-denying acts in American history. The 800-mile journey was deadly and arduous for natives that marched across the southern plains. Most natives died of hunger, but others were bitten by snakes, beaten, or even dropped dead from exhaustion. Chiquite Deerskin lives to tell the horrifying tale of this massacre and remembers the heavy losses his family suffered.
This Indian Removal Act, passed by the government, was like the nature spirits had sent disease to our people. It almost felt like punishment for living here, but what had we done wrong? What did the government have against us? We were the first ones here on this big, beautiful land. We were the ones who crossed the great bridge of ice. So why did they mistreat us, the real explorers of America? That was another more morbid story in our national recap of important events earlier in our chapter of Western expansion. Since the last two stories have been more dark and cold, we'll warm you folks up with some good news for our final story. Our final story is when President Jefferson bought the huge Louisiana Territory from Emperor Napoleon in 1803. The country expanded to twice the size as it originally was, and this first started the quest for Western land. This was also one of the best gifts from our greatest ally, France.
The Louisiana Territory, a large landmass stretching from just west to the Mississippi River to what's now the edge of Oregon Territory, was purchased from French Emperor and Conqueror Napoleon. The land was sold for less than 3 cents an acre and was about 1,000 miles long. Quite a good deal. The Louisiana Purchase also allowed us to use the Missouri River, a vital transportation route, to travel towards more undiscovered land and spread government power. Later, explorers Meriwether Lewis and William Clark used the Missouri to launch a 2,000-mile journey to the Pacific Ocean just after the purchase was made.
So, quite a purchase for you people going out west. We were pretty lucky we were even offered this much land. Well, that wraps up our special National News Hour for today. This is Ted Haas, and good night, America.